Hit the button? Yeah, you hit the button. So, today I made a discovery. We can have this as the intro. You know how I love popcorn, right, fellas?
Yes, yeah, I do too.
Yeah. Yes. God has tested me today, if there is a God. So,
God
I love
his
popcorn.
warriors the hardest tests. It's about popcorn.
It's about fucking popcorn. Okay. Here's the best part about all this. So, I decided to check my phone. I'm like, oh, I'll grab some lunch or whatever. Buy one, get one free because I want to save money and get a nice snack. Turns out popcorn was buy one, get one free. $7 for 2 bags of popcorn. And my fat ass bought 2 bags of popcorn. So
bags as in like you heat them up in the
the Orville Redenbacher.
No.
Why don't you just buy kernels? Oh, there you go. Yeah, okay.
Movie popcorn.
Oh,
if you live in the downtown area, go on Uber Eats and get movie popcorn. Super Mario Bro movie popcorn too. Bag.
I'm curious as to why you don't just buy kernels and cook it on the stove.
Believe it or not, this is cheaper. I do have kernels over there, but I'm like,
I don't know about that one, Chief.
I spent spillage. I spent
How is
$7
it
for
cheaper
this.
to buy that? You said $7
Canadian
for 2 of
dollar.
those.
Yeah.
Still, like I could spend 12 American dollars and get like a thing of kernels, and it's good for like 15 or plus pots of popcorn.
Oh, shit, I already have that. I already do that.
Yeah, but you said it was more expensive.
Yeah, I have it though. I have like a big fucking container, but like anytime I get the chance to buy movie popcorn,
Okay.
no, all the preparedness is done for me already. I just eat.
Yeah, I figured that would be more expensive because it usually is.
Yeah.
Welcome everybody to another edition of the Tougies Take podcast. We are back again, your favorite hockey podcast that clearly is very rarely about hockey, especially this time of year. It's shaping up to be another shorter show, gentlemen, because right now we're all just waiting to see who's going to make the playoffs. It's pretty much all that we have going for us. But in the meantime, I mean, Endo, we kind of know how you are. Is there anything else you failed to mention, or are you just in popcorn bliss?
I started and recorded my Beer Pro, so I'm actually jumping into that fully. I tried editing the YouTube editing the stuff that I had what I was streaming. Was not fun because I was playing as a goalie for Arizona.
Was that with my rosters, by the way?
And they were your rosters.
So your best defender's a 77.
Yes. And I thought I could counteract it by making my goalie 6'9" and like 260 or whatever the fuck you can do. It didn't help. I'm a literal wall, and nothing.
Close quarters, man. It's overpowered.
Oh my god. I have like a 930 save percentage, but I lose every fucking game by like 4 goals.
That's literally Arizona's goaltenders.
It is, yeah.
For like the last 2 decades.
Congratulations, you are Mike Smith 11 years ago.
I mean, like, Arizona's always had good goaltending, but just shit everything else.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of. So I have something to mention NHL wise, but I don't know. Do we want to make this like a negative, positive, negative, and have Sins how you doing in the middle to kind of break up the negativity?
Sure.
Sin, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing good.
Yeah.
Just had a nice gym session, kicking some ass in Hogwarts Legacy.
Yeah.
That's kind of it. I got a bunch of YouTube stuff I got to do for Sports Gamer too, so I'm doing that slowly throughout this week to wrap things up, and then eventually get back on my own YouTube stuff once I get all the member rosters done.
There you go. So speaking of getting YouTube stuff back on track after finishing rosters, so I did mention the idea of maybe starting up a Be a Pro, and now the more I think about it, the more I'm like, I don't know about that. Especially when MLB is coming out, we're going to play a lot of Road to the Show. So this past week, I started up on NHL franchise again. Started a series with Chicago. Of course, I changed the logo to piss some people off, and it worked perfectly. Oh, it worked perfectly. I couldn't help myself. But
how do you change the logo?
Custom team.
Oh, and then you replaced it. That's okay.
Yeah. So technically can't change it. It would have been nice because you could still like use the United Center, but I get why you can't. I noticed an issue when I was editing the rosters and doing like the test runs in franchise that I knew was going to be a problem once I started up franchise. And it is a problem. And by the time this podcast is out, this episode of that I recorded last night, that'll be up on the YouTube side of things will be there, and I explain it there too. But the AI, as I've said all year long, are the worst they have ever been in terms of team building and having any basic level idea of how to actually build a team. From letting go of prospects they shouldn't be letting go of, in favor of either not signing anybody at all and having anywhere from 32 to 41 contracts in general, to not signing decent prospects and signing players with low AHL top 2 defense in terms of potential.
That's weird.
I think it was LA that had Casper Simon-Tyval, who was 20 years old, 70 overall, high top 9, and they let him go, but signed one of those defensemen. Like, it's so literally, I was going to have my typical like off-season video of here's the start of free agency, and the whole episode's free agency, the preseason, getting the team set. I had to cut that because I spent an hour and a half not only trying to set up my own team, but making sure that I went through and signed free agents and then traded them away to teams that actually needed more contracts to actually ice a proper fucking team, including teams that had anywhere between 1, 2, or at most 3 goalies under contract. Legitimately, there was a team that had 1 goalie signed up to September 1st.
Is that
team
after
building?
September 1st, it'll auto sign after September 1st, right? Or what?
It didn't. They signed 1 guy to get the bare minimum of 2 for the NHL level, but still, they just left a bunch of people unsigned. I'm having a tough time, man. I'm having a real tough time. I, good friend of the show, our buddy Timo. Obviously, got some thumbnails made for it to help a friend out. Chip him a little bit of extra as. He announced he's going to be a dad very, very soon. And it's like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Help out a friend. And now I'm just like, what do I do? What do I do? Because legitimately, I don't think franchise mode has ever been this bad. And it's why I often stick with like draft to glory style stuff so that I never have to worry about what the AI teams are doing, because they are the worst they've ever been. So that's where I am right now. I'm enjoying streaming college football. I'm going to enjoy the hell out of NBA or NBA, MLB. I enjoyed the hell out of NBA. Like shit, even like WWE 2K23 came out today, and I'm more like interested in that, I think, than I am I am more interested in World of Chell than I am in franchise mode right now. And
Let's go.
I'm a sad boy.
We
I'm a
did
sad
it.
boy, though. Do you know how depressing that is for me?
We did it, Joe.
They did it. Minnesota.
Soda! I love that so much. It's just recurring soda.
I'm just after I was done recording and I was laying in bed and I'm just like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do with my channel? Can I really continue to attach it to NHL 23? Do I just do old reviews of older hockey games? Like, what do I even do at this point? I don't know.
Got an idea. I got an idea.
I've just been like blissfully happy, like completely ignorant of. I mean, I know the teams are bad at running it, but if I don't look at them, I don't care. Like, so I just happily record my franchise modes, focus on my team almost exclusively. Several times people have been like, "Hey, can you check around, the lines of the league and like, see what the league looks like here by like year 5?" And I never do it because I'm like, I know it's just going to be stupid. Like,
you're smart. I wish I had the strength to not.
I'm
look,
also
but
lazy, so.
Fair.
It's just to a fault then. It's just like, oh, you know what? Fuck it, I'm not gonna care. No, so I have an idea, and it involves the friends, and we go back to an older NHL game, and we take over Chicago Blackhawks. Run saved.
I mean, we started like a fantasy draft, and then we didn't do anything with it.
Well, I do want to bring that back, by the way. I do want to bring that back.
I do think the wheel of positions was a little awkward, though. But
I do too.
We could still do it, I guess.
Yeah. I do like that idea. I don't know if I still have all those old recordings. So, but enough time has passed that like restarting wouldn't be the worst idea anyway. Yeah. We weren't that super far into it.
No.
But to Endo's point, like through the power of emulation and what we were doing, like we could go back to. I mean, that's the thing though. I don't know like viewership wise what that would do to just be like, hey, we're gonna do a franchise mode in NHL 09 and play through a full season. I don't know how well that would do, but maybe I'm willing to try it. Maybe we. Do the type of thing where it's like we edit in a week's worth of highlights, like the week's games, make it in highlight form. Maybe that's the way to do it.
Because I don't know anyone else who's doing that. Like playing old games with friends, kind of like co-op kind of style. Like no one is doing that in the NHL scape or the sports game scape. Like that's something that could break through and break ground. Like that's why I originally wanted to Parsec Pals on my own thing, but I'm glad that it kind of went to this thing that we all just kind of get together and just play games whenever.
Honestly, it might be the way because that sounds a hell of a lot. And we were already doing that, right? I mean, we did that before with Ottawa, so it's not as if it's like no one could steal our idea. You already would be. We beat you to the punch already.
Exactly.
But yeah, maybe that's the way. Maybe that is the way because NHL 23 franchises.
Yeah, that Ottawa franchise was so much fun, man.
Was one of my favorite things I think I've ever done.
69 goals, baby, and plus 69. And the fucking All-Star.
God, I think all that's up on my second channel, if I'm not mistaken. So check that out, everybody.
I have to go watch that whole series back, man.
Yeah. So who knows?
Every week we got to get Danny Webster to do a summary of the week. Jesus.
that was one of the best parts. But yeah, who knows? Maybe we'll see. I'll try to break out of the early. Like I'm 3 episodes in for this NHL 23 franchise, and I'm just like, oh god, it's so bad. Not the franchise itself, but you can only polish a turd so much before you're just like, what's the point? That type of thing. But we'll see what the future brings. Who knows? Maybe more co-op seasons. Maybe we'll get back to the other reviews that take a shitload more work, but. Hopefully they'll end up being worth it. Who's to say? Speaking of being worth it, as always, this podcast is brought to you by our lovely friends at Manscaped. You can go to manscaped.com and use code Tougie for 20% off your order and free shipping. That is code Tougie, Tougie at manscaped.com. Get yourself some fantastic spherical deodorants, as Endo Mills currently has in his hand, along with a variety of other top-notch products. The Lawnmower 4.0 for groin and general body hair grooming. It's amazing. The Beard Hedger with the Beard Hedger Pro kit. I'm sure Sim was looking for the comb.
Yeah, my guess. I didn't have it, but I'm not going to run away and get it like Endo, so.
Fair enough.
I'll leave that to him.
God, just...
hold on.
What is he, Charles Barkley?
Let me tell you something. Tougie.
Oh, God. Manscaped.com. Highly endorsed by those of us here at the podcast. Highly endorsed by Charles Barkley.
Let me tell you something. Patrick Kane, New York Rangers, West defensive player. He's doing pretty fucking awful there. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, I was
still 91 overall defensive awareness, by the way. Still 91 overall.
That's because their freaking overall system is broken.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it needs to be like Madden.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
Also, fourth
Man.
liners should be like 70 overall. Or
Yeah,
75
hey, they
max.
are on my rosters, at least a good amount of them. So yeah, but hey, what are you gonna do? But I don't have your favorite player as a 99, so fuck you. I don't even know. There was actually a talking point about that for Patrick Kane, where people are like, "Yeah, his defense sucks, but he has 3 points in 5 games." It's like,
Tremendous.
oh, does he? Maybe everyone was wrong. The analytics community was wrong. 3 points in 5 games and still shit defensively. Maybe. It's like, or could it be that he wasn't horrific defensively solely because he was on a bad team? Could it be? Who's to say? Manscaped.com.
You can take the shit out of Chicago, but you can't take the shit out of the person. There you go.
There you go.
Or the character.
With that, yeah.
I tried.
With that, let's go ahead and move on to some viewer questions as we do, and we'll kick things off with it was really taken over for Piney as our number one question input from Scorpion Noopers. Question for the podcast: in your opinion, which of these 80s science fiction fantasy movies are your favorites? Which haven't you seen? Which ones are terrible? Beastmaster, Conan the Barbarian, Krull, Legend, Masters of the Universe, Neverending Story, The Princess Bride, and Willow. Feel free to add any you think should be on this list. So,
yeah.
motherfucker.
Oh, fuck. Yeah.
You're a little heavy, buddy. Yeah.
We're going
going down. Yeah. That's the only one I've seen, actually. Neverending Story.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck. I mean, I know what Conan the Barbarian is. I've literally never heard of any of those other ones. Is Masters of the Universe He-Man?
I believe so, yes.
No. I was born in 1990.
At age 6, I was born without a face.
I was born in 1987.
Oh God. So I mean, I'm kind of surprised. Like, you got to include Alien, 80s science fiction fantasy. Like, Alien's got to be up there.
Was that fantasy
79?
though? Like, I know it's science fiction, but it's not fantasy because it's based in like a reality.
Oh, Alien was 79. Never mind. There we go. It doesn't make the cut.
Ooh.
Damn. Aliens makes the cut. But, I mean, yeah, I would consider that. I mean, what's the definition of fantasy? Does it have to be like shit? Does Labyrinth count?
That's
just fucking weird.
I don't
Can
know.
I include Labyrinth with David Bowie's weird sexual
absolutely.
energy?
Yeah, that's 100% a fantasy. It's not a science fiction fan. Like, here's the thing. He's worded it weird because science fiction and fantasy are two very different things.
Yeah.
Why not all three?
God. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen most of those, all of them either, aside from Princess Bride.
I have seen The Princess Bride. You know what's hilarious? As I was watching Criminal Minds, I realized the guy who plays Gideon is the one who plays Inigo Montoya in that movie, and it like clicked. I was like, holy shit! I never realized it before. It was amazing.
Holy shit!
Breaking news: actors get different roles.
You know what?
But fair enough. I've had moments I think everyone has where it's like, oh shit, it's that person.
Yeah.
Because there's always one role you're going to identify people for the most.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Like Andre the Giant is Bigfoot.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
Hey, he played Bigfoot in $6 Million Man. Oh, God. Anyway, movies. Yay. Sid fucking buried that question immediately.
I did. I'm sorry. I'm a kind of a movie nerd, so my bad.
Oh, it's fine. From RG Dust, favorite type of smoothie or milkshake? Am I a basic bitch for just being like, strawberry milkshake, man? Does that make me a basic bitch?
No, because I like vanilla milkshakes.
Okay. Endo, are you going to be the fancy one of the bunch?
Of course he is.
I just love the two white guys. Like, I like vanilla. I'm like, I like chocolate.
In fairness, I said strawberry, so we're covered.
That's because he's whiter than I am. He's pink.
God.
No, I like a good cookie and cream. That's always good to go with. A nice vanilla bean. I mean, do frappuccinos count from like Starbucks? It's kind of like a milkshake.
Or a smoothie. It's kind of like a milkshake and a smoothie,
Yeah,
but it's made with coffee. I don't know. That's a good question.
it's like a frappe cappuccino, hence the name. Oh, there it is.
You
Oh.
would be walking around a fucking mall in Toronto with a caramel frap. Wouldn't
Bag
you?
of movie theater popcorn.
Going over to Auntie Anne's and getting yourself a pretzel.
Going to H&M and buying clothes while Drake's music plays in the fucking background PA.
Oh, I was gonna say you seem more of an Abercrombie and Fitch kind of guy.
That was too specific for Endo to not have actually happened.
Abercrombie and Finch, yeah, that's way too specific. I mean H&M, I love H&M. They have a bunch
Did
of.
you say Abercrombie and Finch?
I don't fucking know.
Bags! Just fucking Finch in there. Just
Fetch.
that's the alternative to Abercrombie and Fitch. There's the one with Finch, and they're just in there trying to hold on to old glories.
I don't even tell it the proper name.
It's right next to Hot Topic, which is where Finch goes to get their outfit changes.
They're coming back for this year's edition of the We Were Young Festival. They're coming back.
Who?
Finch.
Oh, nice.
Or a fucking
Remember when
California
we thought that was a scam?
hardcore band or post-hardcore. What happened?
Remember when we thought that was like a scam at one point?
Yeah, it actually happened. But of course everyone thought it was a scam because like the Fire Festival happened and it sounded too good to be true.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't. And then everyone who didn't go was like, oh, fuck, I should have gone to that thing.
You want to know why it wasn't it actually worked out? You didn't have Ja Rule before him at the halftime show.
But where is he now?
Silence.
Where
That's
is
what's
Ja?
up.
We need Ja to make sense of this.
Oh, God. Oh, I wonder what Ja Rule's up to. No, I don't.
Scamming
Next
people with crypto. That's what he is up to.
From It's Called Soccer, thoughts on the Aaron Rodgers to the Jets news or other NFL news.
It still
was
sucked. It's not going to help him.
Good answer. Yeah, today was the start of NFL free agency.
Yeah.
There were some kind of interesting moves, but the biggest thing right now in football is what's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers, because the New York Jets have kind of gone all in. They still have Zach Wilson as their quarterback, but he is the only quarterback on roster. They lost the legend, Mike White, to the Miami Dolphins. So they are kind of all in and just waiting to see if Aaron Rodgers is going to follow in Brett Favre's footsteps and go to the New York Jets.
Brett Favre.
Brett Favre.
Brett Favre.
Favre.
You had a great way. Brett Favre.
Steals from children. Brett Favre.
Ah, damn.
Oh, shit.
Steal money to build volleyball courts. Brett Favre.
Brett Favre.
Oh, fuck the
sends
poor.
dick
Brett
pics. Fuck, man. Why were all of my the two QBs for the Packers that I fucking loved so much just turned out to be pieces of shit, man?
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
Oh,
So
I mean,
I
hey,
don't really care that Rodgers is gone. Maybe the Green Bay will actually rebuild as they've needed to, or at least I don't know. They just didn't do any good job of building around Rodgers. Then again, Rodgers.
they got one
was
Super Bowl out of it and said, "Fuck it."
Yeah, we got one. You know, that's still good. I still consider that a good run for a QB. Like, one of his pure talent. But still, again, it's just further proof that it does take a good team and a good organization to win championships.
And it does. I will say, though, it's like, yeah, you know, for you, it's like, oh, Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers. I mean, the worst Tom Brady did was kiss his son on the lips.
And have that MAGA hat in his locker.
Oof. Oh, I forgot about that.
Perfectly positioned so the cameras could see it.
Yeah. It was planted there. Black helicopters.
It was planted there by the deflate gate. Something.
Roger Goodell trying to tear down Tom Brady.
You know what happens?
Won't stand for it. We know globalists trying to tear down
We know.
all time.
Big deflate gate.
You son of a bitch! You piece of shit!
You're fake. You're a coward. Come back here.
Oh, God.
It just sprints after something. God.
My favorite is someone made an edit where it's Minecraft and the person's a creeper.
Yeah.
He
Oh,
runs
yeah.
out and it explodes.
Oh my God.
So yeah, Aaron Rodgers probably to the New York Jets. It'll be fun. From Tomas, what is your dream Lego kit?
Did we not answer this?
We had something about Lego before. I don't remember if it was the dream Lego kit or not.
My dream Lego kit is a bucket of a bunch of random ones so I can make my own thing.
What is
why
that,
I'm
the point of Lego?
That's why I'm a Ravenclaw, because I think outside the box with a creative mind.
Oh, my favorite, the one that I always wanted was the hockey set. They had one back in the day where you had like you push it down like it was you know exactly what I'm talking about.
No, but
Exactly.
I know something different that I'm going to talk about in a second that I'm going to change my answer to.
So they had like these like weird sets, and they I think it was a part of a collection with McDonald's, and you get the Happy Meal toy and everything. You get to get a toy. There was one where it was like basketball, one was soccer, one was hockey.
Complete the
I
set
wanted
by
that
getting
fucking
diabetes.
I wanted that hockey set so fucking bad. I mean, I eat fucking popcorn for a living. I wanted that set so fucking bad. You have no idea. And it was too expensive, and I couldn't afford it. Because then they also had like minifigures with like hockey sticks as well. And God, I hate living lower middle class.
Not enough shifts at the chimney sweep.
Yeah,
Please, sir. Some more.
I want a mini. Pay
God,
me
I've
in
never forgotten
minifigures,
that
sir.
freaking outfit that his mom had him in, man.
Amazing.
It was amazing.
Oh,
It's all
God.
right, dude. I was dressed up like a fucking train conductor one time. Like a little... one of those
Tim,
hats
that
with
was
the
me every fucking
pinstripes
day.
and the fucking corduroy, like... Jesus.
You had the corduroys too? Jesus Christ, man. Oh, man.
Why was corduroy a thing?
I don't know.
Dude, my dad was too busy dressing me up in Bruin stuff. You guys are nerds.
You're just an East Coaster, man.
It's
Yeah.
true.
Going to a funeral, just put on your Bruins
It's
jersey.
black.
Honestly.
Put on the black one.
I do have an answer for this, but Sin, you said you were going to change yours.
Yeah, there was because Endo reminded me by saying this hockey set. My friend had a Lego set of like this soccer thing where you put it all
my
together,
God.
and then the little guys were on these pegs, and you could actually play soccer. Like you could, you would like flick them. Yes, you would like flick them back and forth. We would play like that, but we would name all the players there after like Sharks players or whatever, and like pretend it was hockey still, and you could
They
score.
had a
It was
basketball
so
one
cool.
too. They had a basketball one too, and then one where you put the guy in the minifigure and you put him there and you press the back and he dunks. He dunks the ball too. It was, dude, I'm having like a flashback right now. I'm feeling so uncomfortable right now. This is great. Dude,
Oh, God.
I've never said dude this much in my life. Dude.
Dude,
Yeah,
bruh.
that's cultural appropriation. Stop it.
You only get 3 dudes per hour when you're speaking to a Californian.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
It's in the rules. Oh, fuck. I don't know if there is, but there has to be a Lego Stanley Cup, right?
Mhm.
There has
Yep,
to be.
yep.
Probably.
Yeah,
Look it up
I want
right
one of those. I want one of those.
And then every year, Gary Bettman sells you an expansion to put the new team on it.
Yeah, exactly. Get the new thing. I can drop it and dent it like Obey Kubel did.
You know what's funny? The Avalanche posted a Lego recreation of the Stanley Cup ceremony.
That's pretty cool.
And they didn't
That's
have
pretty awesome.
Kubel drop the puck though. Drop the trophy.
Mm.
Let
Might have
me
been hard
post
to
it
animate.
on the thing.
That being said, one of my favorite bands, Dispatch, someone made a fan video of them as Legos and put it to one of their music, and then Dispatch bought it off them and used it as their official music video.
I
Which
think
is
I've seen
so
that.
cool. Yeah. I don't know if you've seen it, Nendo. It's a band
No,
that I don't
like-
expect many people to know.
No, I've seen a lot of stuff like that because back in back when I was like 10, 11, 12, I was really into stop motion animation. And this is right when like YouTube was at its becoming its big thing and having a big animation push. And I just remember just like watching a shit ton of animation stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean,
I
well, the
maybe
song
have
was out
seen
way
it.
back then.
Yeah. I maybe saw it.
2013.
No, it was out way before that.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
This band's been around since the mid '90s.
Oh, I'm aware of Dispatch. I'm just saying for Endo is like, yeah,
Oh.
YouTube. I was in high school, 2013.
Yeah. Oh God.
Yeah, I've seen this. I just looked
I
it
was
up right
an
now. I've
alcoholic
seen
in
this.
2013. Get on my level, Endo.
15 years ago.
Get some life experience, bitch. How? Oh, 15. Oh yeah. I was like 20.
Yeah, so I
13
was
was not 15 years ago. Calm down. Ugh.
And it was
10
released
years ago,
November
though.
30th,
I know. I don't want
2007
to think about that.
on their official. Okay.
Oh, God. From AJ, who would you say is the future in the big four sports in terms of being the next McDavid, LeBron, Brady, Trout? So
Me.
I took the liberty of answering this for you. Let me know if you disagree. I mean, hockey-wise, in terms of hype level, it's Connor Bedard. I mean, in terms of anyone else who is expected to kind of go, that's the McDavid is the McDavid in terms of like the next one, because we still haven't even seen peak McDavid, presumably.
Yeah.
So he kind of already is that next guy. In terms of basketball, a hype level for a prospect, it's Victor Wembanyama, who hasn't been drafted yet. He will be this year. That guy's a fucking freak of nature, man. I don't know if you guys have seen this dude or heard of this dude.
7'2".
Is like human beings. Like, I don't understand how a human being can it's as if someone perfectly crafted this guy for basketball. He's 7'2". He has a wingspan of a 747. It's fucking ridiculous. Like, he is practically a Monstar. Like, he could seriously probably stand
He's
at the
the
free
blue
throw line
Monstar.
for his free throws and just go and just put it in. I'm serious. Like, here, I will link you guys a picture in our little chat right here. Look at this motherfucker's wingspan. It's
Holy
ridiculous.
shit.
His arms look like fucking stilts. It's insanity.
You know who he reminds me of? Just the arm span. There was this, I think it was a Slovakian or Slovenian basketball player who was 7'6", who got really popular. And he was super skinny, and when he ran, it just looked really fucking weird. I'm gonna pull it up. Hold on.
God. But yeah, this dude's insane. And the thing is, like, he's not like the one-dimensional, get it to him down low and he'll score. Like, he shoots the ball a lot. He can shoot threes. Like, he's fucking good. So yeah, he's
Sandwich
that kind of
go after him.
It's that next one.
Here he is.
Football wise, in terms of who's the next in line after Brady? Like, it's Patrick Mahomes. He's already there. Just won another Super Bowl. And then baseball wise, behind Trout, go figure, it's his teammate Shohei Ohtani, who is the biggest thing in baseball right now. So yeah. I mean, I don't really know. I'm intrigued to see if anyone who's listening to this would kind of disagree.
I almost feel like football, it's so different as a sport than the other ones that it's like, I don't even know if you can consider Mahomes one of those. It's just that, like, how do you quantify it? It's so much harder to quantify it in football. No, I'm not going to deny Mahomes is fucking incredible, but like, I don't know. Maybe he is. Maybe he is like that guy. But like,
well, the conversation,
what kind of freaks of nature. Like, I'm just trying to think in like terms of football, the kinds of freaks of nature. Like, I don't know. It's hard.
For me, like, the conversation, I think, as AJ kind of phrased it, like the future of the big four sports. So it's kind of like, hey, here's the person who is known as the best in the sport.
Absolutely, it's Mahomes. Yeah.
If it was terms of like freaks of nature, it'd probably be like some offensive lineman who's 350 pounds and can do more pull-ups than anyone else on earth.
Yeah,
like someone like that in the NFL, because the NFL
wasn't there like an
that.
offensive lineman this year at the combine that did like 4'6", 40-yard dash?
Something like that. Dude, the combine's fucking stupid, but boy, don't I love reading about some of the results. I'm really excited for the NFL draft because there's, especially like at the quarterback level, there's a lot of interesting guys. It was Florida's Anthony Richardson. This dude's fucking huge. He's like 6'4", 231. He's got a 40-inch vertical. He could just launch the ball downfield like it was fired out of a cannon. It's fucking hilarious. Just watching freak athletes just do what they do. It's hilarious to me.
Yeah.
And like beyond, like, and again, not being like tied within like the rules of like the game, because mid-game it's very tough to fully showcase athleticism, I feel like, which is why like when Connor McDavid does something nuts, it's like, holy shit. Because, you know, for a lot of times it's like you don't fully get to kind of showcase that athleticism, but something like a combine allows you to do that, because you're not threatened with someone who's 6'2", 250 pounds trying to break your neck in the name of getting a football. Anyway, God. Yeah, AJ, shout out. Final question from Bring Back the Sound Tigers. The best NHL team since the turn of the century to not win the Stanley Cup. So we're talking the last 22 years. The best NHL team to never win a cup. Sin, I feel like this question was designed for you.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious, like who I think it is. And I don't know if the numbers will back it up, but I'm pretty sure they have a really good chance to. And just considering that, yeah.
Well, why don't you go ahead and what specific Sharks team?
I would say it's the late 2000s to, you know, the 2010s Sharks team.
Yeah.
Like the mid to late 2000s and then into the 2010s. Yeah, it was that Sharks team 100%. Like when it was the era of Thornton. The Thornton era, Thornton, Marlowe, Nabokov era Sharks. Like we won at least one President's Trophy around then.
Mm-hmm.
Made it to the conference finals, I think, one time. It was in 06 or was it 07? What year did Carolina win the cup?
06.
It was that year. Okay, then yeah, it was 06. We made it to the conference finals. Everyone's head got taken off by Rafi Torres.
And then you guys brought in Rafi Torres a few years later, and he
Jesus.
took everyone's head off until he got sususpended for like 48 games or some shit like that.
Oh yeah,
I thought it was long. Was it 48? I thought for some reason I thought it was longer than that, but yeah, it was crazy.
I gotta look that up now.
For me it has to be the Sharks, like within Thornton's prime, because we acquired him right as he was entering his prime in a blockbuster steal of a trade, and we could not figure it out. There's so many great moments within that time period. Like there really was. A Thornton slide at center ice. Getting reverse swept. That is a great moment, although it sucked. It's incredible that happened. Like so many crazy things. There was like a comeback we had in a playoff game against the Kings, and so many of our playoff things were against the Kings, where we came back from like a 4-goal deficit and won. Yeah, there's beating Detroit in overtime. The pass from, or I think it was a pass. No, it was a shot off the pads of, I believe it would have been Hasek in it. Maybe it was Osgood, and Marlowe buries it for the game winner. And I think it was a game 7 or maybe it was a game 6. I don't know, but it was just so many great moments and like so close, but then they always folded. Fucking getting swept by Chicago.
So Rafi Torres, October of 2015, he was suspended for 41 games for a hit on Jakob Silfverberg.
In the preseason, mind you. I was at that game, by the way.
This is the longest suspension ever given by the NHL for a hit on another player, and he never played an NHL game. It did lead me to looking up suspensions.
Yep.
And there's some interesting ones. In terms of games, that is still the longest in NHL history, is 41 games. The next highest, December of 2007, New York Islanders forward Chris Simon was suspended for 30 games for stomping on Jarkko Ruutu's ankle during a timeout.
Oh my God.
You had the original Austin Watson suspension, which was 27 games. This was after his arrest for domestic assault. That was reduced to 18 games, though. Also, in 2007, October, Jesse Boulerice was suspended 25 games for cross-checking Ryan Kessler in the face. Chris Simon again in March of 2007. So, Twice he was suspended. This time it was 25 games for slashing Ryan Hallweg in the face. Yeah, so shout out to Chris Simon. He's on that list a lot. But the longest listed suspensions on this article, in terms of games, Alex Perez-Hogan on the AHL's Hamilton Bulldogs in April of 2004 was suspended for 89 games.
Holy shit.
He slashed Garrett Stafford in the head and was suspended for 5 playoff games, and then all 80 regular season games and 4 more playoff games the following year if they were to make it. So 89 games in total for him. In the OHL, in October of 2009, Michael Liambas, who I believe made the NHL with Nashville, maybe another team, was suspended for 68 games for a check to the head of Kitchener Rangers Ben Finelli, giving him a fractured skull. Finelli eventually recovered. Well, that's nice.
Can we just talk about how like that one dude slashed someone in the head and effectively like his hockey career was over? Like he missed one huge year of development. That's just fucking. I'm not saying it was the wrong decision or anything. That's just like fucking consequences, man.
Now, there are 4 suspensions that are not listed in games, but in years.
Nice.
KHL, Damir Raspayev was suspended for a year and a half in August of 2016. He initiated a violent bench-clearing brawl. He was originally banned for life, but it was changed to a year and a half.
I think I've watched that bench-clearing brawl on YouTube.
Slava Voinov was suspended from the NHL for a year and a half for obvious reasons. 1975, Dan Maloney of the Detroit Red Wings was suspended for 2 years, but was also banned from playing in Toronto. He was charged with assault causing bodily harm after he attacked Brian Glennie of the Maple Leafs. In exchange for a no-contest plea, Maloney did community service work and was banned from playing in Toronto for 2 seasons.
Holy shit.
And the final one, 1927. Boston Bruins Billy Cotu, nicknamed the Wild Beaver, was suspended because it was the 20s.
What? What a fucking name! The Wild Beaver!
Oh my god. He was suspended for 2.5 years for assaulting referee Jerry Laflamme, tackling referee Billy Bell, and he started a Stanley Cup bench clearing brawl, apparently on the orders of Coach Art Ross. He was originally banned for life, but the penalty was reduced to 2.5 years, but he never did play in the NHL again.
Fucking rename the Art Ross Trophy, apparently. Yeah. It's tainted.
But yeah, shout out to Billy Cotu, the Wild Beaver. Damn. So that was unexpected to kind of go down the list of suspensions, but thank you to Rafi Torres for that. Back to the original question of best team to never win a Stanley Cup since the turn of the century. I did look up a few teams. That is where we started. The 2018-19 Tampa Bay Lightning deserve a shout. 62 wins and getting swept by Columbus in round 1.
But they've won.
But they did win. It's true. Best team to never win a Stanley Cup since the turn of the century is fair. I viewed this as like the best team individually. Like what was like the best team that didn't live up to their potential in a given year was how I read it. But I mean, to your point, yeah, if we're talking about best team to not win, it's San Jose, hands down. But if we were going off of those individual years, the 05-06 Red Wings won 58 games, lost to Edmonton in 6 games in the first round. Have to shout out the 2013 and 2019 Boston Bruins. The 09-10 Washington Capitals won 54 games, lost in the first round, Game 7 to Montreal. The 2015-16 Washington Capitals won 56 games, lost to Pittsburgh in round 2 in 6 games. The Capitals might have topped San Jose if we're framing it that way, had they not won. The
Capitals kind of took over that from the Sharks at the latter half of the 2010s, especially like starting to win presidents and then never winning cups.
Because also on this list is the 2016-17 Capitals, who lost to Pittsburgh in Game 7 in the second round. They won 55 games. Pittsburgh's all over this list. And then maybe the most sad example outside of San Jose, because I do view that as being pretty sad. The 2010-11 Vancouver Canucks, because they are still 12 years later dealing with the aftermath of that particular failure. They have never been the same since losing that series. So, yeah, it kind of depends on how you frame it, right? Are we talking franchise to have not won it that has been the best consistently through that time, or are we talking individual teams? But yeah, I'd say if it's overall franchise, you have to look at the Sharks just for how good they were. But yeah, there's quite a few great teams that fell flat on their face, which, concerns me for the Bruins, who became the fastest team to 50 wins in NHL history. They beat the record. They did it in 64 games. The previous record was 66, which was a tie between that 18-19 Lightning team and the 95-96 Red Wings. But the Bruins are the first team to clinch a playoff spot, and hopefully it goes a bit further than that. Please. But yeah, hey, thank you, everybody, for the questions, because outside of 47 minutes of questions, we kind of have 3 things to talk about. So that's fun. Endo, before we get to that, what do you got?
You never asked me what team. The 2012-2013 Toronto Maple Leafs. They should have won the cup that year.
Oh, was that the...
that was the Maple Leaf meltdown
thing?
Yeah, that was the 4-1.
It was 4-1.
No, fuck that team, because the fan base then turned on James Reimer.
Yeah.
James Reimer, who was hoping to get traded away from San Jose and didn't.
I mean, that's a Leaf thing, though.
His value.
That's a Leaf thing where they immediately hate anyone who used to be on the team.
Guess what? Morgan Riley's next.
Yeah.
Just saying. It's already happening. It's gonna happen.
It was Justin Hall, and now everyone's kind of like, yeah, we're just going to make fun of Morgan Riley now. Then he's going to go elsewhere, kind of like the guy we're going to talk about soon, and just
probably do good,
dominate, and play really fucking well.
Oh, the Justin Hall hate hasn't stopped, though.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like there was always a scapegoat. It was Gardner, and then it was Kadri. Before that, it was Reimer, as we said. They can't help themselves. Riley's going to be under a microscope in the playoffs, and if they lose, no matter what, he's going to be blamed.
Agreed. Worth noting for that 2013 run, the Leafs would have played the Rangers in the next round, who the Bruins beat in 5. If they made it past the Rangers, they would have had to play the number 1 seed Penguins, who the Bruins swept, and then lost to Chicago in 6. So, yeah.
Damn, I can't. Yeah, dude. After that performance, I'm kind of surprised you. Well, I mean, again, it's hard to sweep a team and have all that time off and then come engaged. Did you win game 1 or lose?
For what series?
The Stanley Cup after you swept Pittsburgh.
Oh God, I've tried not to remember anything about this, but
I'm kind of curious
to quickly look this up. Game 1. Oh fuck! Oh my God. Game 1.
PTSD.
Triple overtime. Chicago wins 4-3.
Oof.
That was the game where Andrew Shaw. Was that the headbutt game, or was that a different one?
No, that was when Andrew Shaw was on the Ducks.
Shaw scored the winner, but I don't remember if that was the headbutt game.
Shaw was on the Ducks when he headbutt. Oh, wait, are you talking about headbutting the puck in, or no?
Yeah.
Shaw was on the Ducks when he headbutt the puck in.
No, he was on the Hawks when that happened. He never played for the Ducks.
Oh, no, then it was against the Ducks. It might have been a different headbutt.
It might have been against the Ducks then, yeah. But, yeah, he did score the triple overtime winner.
Okay, because I distinctly remember the Ducks uniforms, yeah.
Yeah, the Bruins were up 2-0 in that game. Both goals for Milan Lucic, and then Chicago tied it triple. I remember staying up
Imagine.
for that entire game. Fuck. Oh, great memories. Then the Bruins won game 2, 2-1 in overtime. And game 3, 2-0 in Boston. 28 save shutout for Tuukka Rask. Keep trying to blame him, you fucks. I will never let that go. How people fucking blamed him. Chicago won game 4, 6-5 in overtime. Game 5, 3-1. And then game 6 tied it and scored the winner within 17 fucking seconds to avoid game 7.
Man.
It's been 10 years as of this June since that happened. I don't know, man.
Still hurts.
It does, man. That 2019, like, okay, so 2019 I feel like now doesn't hurt as much because they just never really showed up for that game 7 at home. It hurts. Like, you have game 7 on home ice and you fucking blow it. It hurts. But man, 2013, there should have at least been a game 7. Like, that's choking. 17 seconds, tying goal and winning goal. You don't even get to overtime to try and force game 7. You just outright turned off and thought, yep, we got it. And Chicago said, LOL. Again, that is a part of the reason as to why I am so difficult towards the ownership for Chicago and those teams, because it pisses me off to think that there were some really shitty people that benefited from an amazing fucking hockey team that won those cups. Anyway, Endo kind of mentioned another player we were going to talk about. I wanted to mention 2 players in particular post-trade deadline that were moved that have been doing very, very well. And the first is Rasmus Sandin of the Washington Capitals.
Knew he would.
Who has 8 points in 4 games on the Caps.
This is why I wanted him when we were talking about those trade potential things, like regarding Erik Karlsson and Timo Meier. And like if Karlsson went to the Leafs, I'm like, yeah, I want Sandin back. This is exactly why. Like, he's really good. Put him on a team with an actual proper distribution of lefties and righties.
Yeah, so he was traded for Eric Gustafsson, who in Washington had 38 points in 61 games. As a Leaf, he has 0 points in 3 games.
Yep.
And a first-round pick this year that belongs to Boston. I get a lot of people like, man, that first-round pick, though, but this so far has looked fucking worth it for Washington. Very, very limited sample size, but if this is anything to kind of go off of, this looks like it could have been an amazing, amazing deal for the Capitals.
They're still a bit out of the playoffs, though, right?
They are.
Last I checked,
but
yeah.
It almost feels like they managed to replace Dmitry Orlov with a younger model, is what it feels like. But yeah, right now, Washington, they are 5 points back of the second wild card holders, the New York Islanders, with 1 game at hand.
Yeah, it's tough.
They could still make it despite getting rid of Orlov and Hathaway, but yeah, they have the Eastern wildcard race is fucking close.
Do they own their own first? I know they traded Boston's first.
The Washington Capitals do have their own first round pick. Yes.
Oh yeah, they're fine then. That's a great trade. You got a younger fucking defenseman. You shedded some stuff that's not going to help you. It's good for them. They're like kind of trying to do a reset here. Maybe get themselves a decent player who can hopefully be NHL ready by the time or when OV is still in the league.
Yeah. That Eastern wildcard race right now is nuts, though. At the time of recording, it's Pittsburgh on 78, Islanders on 76. First out is Florida on 73 points with a game at hand on the Islanders. Then Washington on 71 with a game at hand. And Ottawa at 70 with 2 games at hand. And Buffalo, Detroit, both on 69 points. So 7 games back. They do have games at hand. But Detroit and Buffalo are kind of on the hot seat right now. Like, they need to have a strong rest of March if they're going to actually be able to push. Whereas the Western wildcard race, GG's, basically. It's Edmonton and Colorado. Edmonton on 80, Colorado on 78. Then Nashville on 73, Calgary on 73. And then no one else is close. So, you kind of slot Edmonton and Colorado in playoff spots. I can't imagine Nashville or Calgary pushing to make it, which again, as we talked about before, is insane to think that the Kachuk-Huberdeau trade might result in both teams missing the playoffs.
Yeah,
Crazy.
it is kind of nuts.
The other player I wanted to mention for Sin's Vegas Golden Knights, Jonathan Quick, is 3-0 with a .939 save percentage and a shutout as a member of the Golden Knights, because of course he is.
I'm hearing helicopter noises and it's Jonathan Quick. He's still got it in him. You put him on a better team, he just and if you make him feel slighted in any way, he's gonna fuck you up because he's
Jonathan
an emotional player.
Motivation.
Yes, he's an emotional player. Like, I know that as well as Kings fans because of how much I saw his ass getting crazy. The man dove out of his crease to try to tackle Tomas Hertl once. Like, he fucking held onto his leg like a toddler. It was hilarious. Like, now, I'm like, what the hell's he doing? Didn't get a penalty because, goalies. But, yeah.
Had an .876 save percentage with a 3.5 goals against average in 31 games as a King this year. And again, now has a .939 with a 197 goals against. Granted, only in 3 games.
Yeah.
But man, I mean, with Logan Thompson being hurt, this could be exactly kind of what the doctor ordered here for Vegas, is to just get a really determined goaltender.
I'm actually worried about him now. I wasn't. I was like, they're going to probably lose in the playoffs. Their goaltenders aren't going to cut it. Now I'm worried because now they have Jonathan Quick. They're definitely going to make the playoffs. They're not going to falter as I was hoping they would. Yeah. God, just anyone beat them. I just don't want to see them win a cup, man.
Yeah.
I just need them to hasten their demise because it's going to happen with that thin-ass prospect pool.
Eventually. Or they'll just keep finding ways. Maybe.
Well, Mark Stone might be cooked at this point.
I believe he's out for the rest of the season.
No, I know, but I mean career-wise, like, because that's like a back thing. I'm pretty sure, which is, I'm not hoping that he's cooked, but like, goddamn, dude, Vegas, they're
in a spot. They're in a spot. 2 other things to mention here. The first was a story that I did not hear about at all until someone asked within the viewer questions. It was actually RG Dust if we were going to mention it. In preparation for the show, I always, if I see something, I'll save it, or, I'll go through our hockey and kind of see, okay, what were the biggest things that happened since our last show? This was not one of the most talked about things, and I'm very surprised by that. The headline on an article from CBC is that 4 members of the WHL's Moose Jaw Warriors have been suspended for the rest of the season, with their coach and GM each getting suspended for 5 games after a, quote, off-ice incident. The team has also been fined $25,000.
So what happened?
Exactly what happened has not been disclosed, but it was while a team was on a road trip in Edmonton. The league announced that there was an investigation into a violation of team rules and league policies. Like I said, the players that have been suspended have obviously been named. I've gone back and forth on naming them, but people can find it. There is a 16-year-old, 2 16-year-olds involved, a 19-year-old and a 21-year-old. So shout out to that 21-year-old being involved in this, and they will be required to complete further personal conduct and respect training to be reinstated by the league. One of those players, the 19-year-old, is an Edmonton Oilers draft pick. Now, there was another headline from the Edmonton Police Service saying that the incident that led to the suspension was not criminal in nature, which is interesting because the WHL said that while the player's conduct was not found to be criminal, it violated team and league rules outlined in its standard conduct policy, which includes guidelines in 5 areas: racial/derogatory comments, abuse, bullying, harassment, and hazing, social media and networking, personal conduct, diversity, and inclusion. So you can kind of think about what probably would have happened if it was a violation of their conduct policy, yet somehow not criminal in nature. It's a weird kind of story because obviously they're not fully, you got to kind of read between the lines on things. My response to this, though, is 5 years ago, would we have heard about this?
Nope.
10 years ago? 3 years ago, let alone 10.
Oh, yeah.
3 years ago, we might not have heard about something like this. So it is nice to see that maybe just possibly there's being some improvement. But yeah, the league said it would not provide more information on the incident, quote, out of respect for the privacy of all parties involved. So, some people might read that as like, they're protecting the abusers, but at the same time, it might just be whoever the hell, like, again, you got to kind of be left to read between the lines. You would presume this is a hazing, situation. And I'm sure it's more about protecting those who were on the receiving end of this. But yeah, I mean, hey, shout out to Moose Jaw. They said, hey, we fully accept this, and we have to do better as a team. But I thought it was worth noting that. And how much did you hear about this at all? Because again, for me, I didn't hear about this until today.
I heard about this a while ago, but it was I heard about it when it was an indefinite suspension. So there was no real information about it yet. It said that 4 players been suspended indefinitely for breaking team protocol or whatever the fuck it was. So there's been nothing about it whatsoever until basically today. Well, not today, but when they announced this.
Yeah.
So when I saw it, I'm like, this is weird. They're not saying what it was. I guess it must have been really bad. And if it's not criminal in nature, it means it must have been something morally fucking terrible to do to someone or whatever the situation might have been.
Yeah, I looked it up, and the original article detailing the suspensions was from February 12th.
Wow. Yep.
And the article mentioning the suspensions came out March 10th. So, yeah, that entire time, I am as plugged into the hockey scene and the news cycle as much as anybody. I didn't see a damn thing about this until now. And again, we wouldn't even have mentioned it if it wasn't brought up. So while it's nice to know that, hey, things might be looking a little bit better, something like this in terms of news still kind of snuck under the radar. So that said, there's only really one gigantic, huge story in the hockey world over the past couple of days. It's our final thing to talk about today. And that is that Philadelphia Flyers fans, while they weren't able to celebrate anything monumental at the trade deadline, aside from maybe acquiring Brendan Lemieux because they didn't trade JVR, they have decided to, quote, part ways with general manager Chuck Fletcher. And, of course, former player and great Danny Briere, who has been the special assistant to the GM, that was his role, is going to take over as team interim general manager. So, first and foremost, I want to mention Chuck Fletcher because he is he was not a popular guy with his time in Philadelphia. He was named general manager back on December 3rd, 2018, so just over 4 years now as the GM of this team. And yeah, obviously you can kind of talk about, there's all the different aspects, right? Pretty much 3 main aspects: the signings, the drafts, the trades, and his cap-friendly page has all of that. But again, you're talking about a Flyers team that is nowhere near the playoffs. All they did, this was their trade deadline. They traded Patrick Brown and Zach McEwen for Brendan Lemieux, a 5th and a 6th. That is it. On a team that is well out of the playoffs, with JVR on an expiring contract, Justin Braun on an expiring contract,
Pathetic.
and some other players as well that you probably could have looked at moving.
It's absolutely pathetic, that they didn't.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of listed as the main catalyst for this decision. You are also talking about, his last big trade was acquiring Anthony DeAngelo in the offseason. We can talk about, we are 6 days away from the 1-year anniversary of the Claude Giroux trade, where their return was Owen Tippett, a 3rd, and a 1st-round pick now, I believe, in 2025, because it was a conditional selection. Actually, it's still listed as 2024. If that pick is top 10, it becomes a 2025. And that was talked about a lot, especially with 50% retained for Giroux. that was talked about as a pretty meager return, especially when they gave up a first to get Ben Sherratt. The Panthers did. Flyers only get a first, a third, and Tippett, who, former, 10th overall pick, but 23 at the time. This year as a Flyer, 34 points in 61 games. That's not bad, but that's more middle six instead of anything higher than that. There was the Voracek for Atkinson swap, which hasn't really worked out for either team due to injuries. Rasmus Ristolainen for Robert Haig, a first-round pick in 2021 that became Isaac Rosen, and a second-round pick this year. They gave up Shane Gostisbehere for nothing, and also tacked on a second and seventh-round pick to do it. They acquired Ryan Ellis, who has been out due to injury, for Phil Myers and Nolan Patrick. His trading history is rather unimpressive, I think, is the best way to put it.
It's also completely bipolar. I'm adding. No, I'm subtracting. I'm adding. No, subtracting.
Yeah. 100%.
How the fuck do these people get jobs, man? Nepotism. I know, but it's fuck me, man.
It is a big time boys club with that team for sure. Yeah, his trade history. If I were to do one of those GM trade history videos on Chuck Fletcher, there's a lot of draws, and you could argue very few wins. And that's the thing. A lot of Flyers fans were rightfully worried about this because he was the general manager in Minnesota.
Soda
For 8 years, almost 9. And what did the Wild accomplish from 2009 to 2018? A lot of Flyers fans
nothing.
were worried about that. The draft history for Chuck Fletcher as well is not overly pretty in terms of return for Philadelphia. I mean, his first class in 2019. Cam York is kind of worked out like that. It's a little bit spotty. It might need a little bit more time. I mean, the big thing is, like you said, Sin, it's that back and forth between, okay, we're going this way. No, we're going this way. To the point where there was a comment about him essentially using an app to kind of help gauge values. And I mean, you're going to get dunked on that because it almost sounds like you were using NHL franchise mode where you leave the block open and just see what trade offers you get. Because it's like 1 second to be like, yeah, we're tearing down. The next second, nope, we're buying again. That is what happens when you do that on NHL 23. And that was certainly Chuck Fletcher's style of managing a team. So will not be a fondly remembered time period for him in Philly. Danny Briere takes over. Now, and I paid close attention to this because it was kind of, directly in front of me. With Danny Briere, he has been trained for this for the past couple of years. When the Maine Mariners of the ECHL first became a thing, they were relocated from Alaska with the Alaska Aces over to Maine. The ownership of the team is Comcast Spectacor, who also own the Philadelphia Flyers, whose current general manager for the Maine Mariners is still Danny Briere. This whole ECHL team, in a lot of ways, was Philadelphia's project to start training up a Danny Briere to be a future member of that front office. I don't know if they imagined under 5 years later that he would now be their interim GM. That's kind of fast-tracked, but that is the situation that they are currently in. And it's because of this, and this is from Jordan Hall on Twitter. In under 4.5 years, the Flyers have fired Ron Hextall as GM, fired Dave Haxtell as coach, fired Elaine Vigneault as coach, fired Chuck Fletcher as GM, had 2 interim coaches, Scott Gordon, Mike Yeo, and now have an interim GM in Danny Briere. All of that in 4.5 fucking years. Jesus.
7.
I mean, look, you can call out the Coyotes. I mean, you can call out a couple of teams for being the worst run organization in the NHL. The Flyers are at worst in that conversation.
Yeah, but they're an East Coast team, and they have a decent fan base of loud people.
Very loud people.
It's very interesting how like certain teams just don't get that heat for being poorly run organizations, even though they clearly fucking are.
Yeah, like you'll see. I feel like a team like Columbus has taken more heat this year, and their biggest issues has just been that they have been fucking brutalized by injuries.
Yeah, they're injured. Yeah, they're crazy injured.
Not that the Flyers haven't, but still, like, okay, they're teams in similar situations, but one catches a lot more flack, and it's like, I wonder why. You know, large market versus the alternative. Elliot Friedman also mentioned he was talking to Jeff Merrick, and he said, I think you're bang on with Carter Hart and that he's going to be available, which that potential trade would certainly indicate that the direction moving forward, whether or not it's Danny Briere there the whole time or they bring somebody else in, that direction is going to be to rebuild this team.
I don't know. A 24-year-old goaltender is still pretty young in terms of goaltenders, but
a good goaltender. And can he hurt them by winning them games that they might likely lose otherwise?
I see. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. From that perspective,
debate, right?
Yeah. I was like, he is a good goaltender. Like,
I mean, unlike John Gibson, he can be on a bad team and still post good numbers.
Hey, John Gibson did that for a long time until he didn't.
I'm
going to die on that hill. He sucks now, I will give you that. But for a while, he was incredible.
I just like ragging on Ducks fans. Endo.
All one of them? It's my friend. Stop doing that. Oh, I guess Smoot exists in Joker. So
yeah,
3.
There's a couple.
There you go. There's a few.
Endo.
Also, speaking of this, you use the R word, rebuild.
Yeah.
Shout out to at Broad Street Bull, Sam Cardici, Flyers writer for Philly Hockey Now. He writes an article. I will pin this. I will send this in our group chat right now. This is how he starts his article. Flyers Danny Briere uses R word, welcomes the challenge. The entirety of the replies are like, "Hey yo, you want to know which R word we're using here?"
Oh God! I mean, Flyers media is still a lot of fun, isn't it? Like, no matter, it lives up to the city. It's good, it's a fun time. Jesus.
And then someone said, "Are you rebuilded?" Oh my God! Oh, and someone said the Flyers have been using R words in their front office for 20 years. I'm like, oh boy.
Well, see, that's
probably use the hard R too.
Yeah. Whoa.
Jesus.
Just saying.
I've seen a lot of Flyers fans say that they're still not overly happy yet because there is still like the boys club built in within the team. And that they'd like to see more people go before they actually believe
Briere for this. Like, that's still the boys club, and he played for the team. Like,
yeah, it's like they still have Bobby Clark in as senior vice president of the team. Paul Holmgren is still there as a senior advisor. They have Ian LaPerriere as an assistant coach. I mean, definitely like Dean Lombardi's there as a special advisor to the GM. Like, yeah, they definitely still have that kind of view of like, well, we gotta, trade our own well in terms of giving them front office jobs, even though it's like that doesn't really work all that much.
It sounds good in a Dr. Dre song, but in practice, it might not be that good.
So my question is,
my boys office jobs, no more living hard. Sorry.
My question is, Sin, you said they used the hard R. Would the soft R be a retool? Ooh. You see, like, the Canucks won't use the hard R, but they'll use the soft R, right?
I was referring to something completely different, but I like where you went with it.
And I'm trying to steer really, really far away from that. So
you can't. If you want to, steer
I
clear
know
of Philly.
I can't. I know I can't. Okay? I'm aware that I can't. Okay?
Thank you, everybody, for listening to this episode of the Tougies Take Podcast or watching us on YouTube. Of course, affectionately entitled Philadelphia Hard R.
The Philadelphia Hard R's.
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia. Maybe.
Minnesota.
That was going to be the episode title for a while. All right. Well, okay. So I have, because of the movie talk and The Princess Bride, Anybody Want a Peanut? And then at the end, we did have Rebuilded, which is a pretty good title, but I think it's between Philadelphia Hard R and Minnesota. I think we go for Philadelphia Hard R personally.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
God, boys, anything else to add? I mean, we kind of talked about at the start of the show what we all have going on, but anything else to add before we wind it down?
Absolutely not. I'm gonna.
Nope. No, not at all.
We'll see you later on this week, fuckers. Thanks for listening.
Soda!
Minnesota!